Mezzo Backstage.
This is the Auberge de Provence, one of our favorite venues, the Painted Salon upstairs. Today it houses the Museum of Archaeology. It's got one of the most beautiful halls in Malta. Let's come with me. Welcome to Valletta, welcome to Malta, welcome to the festival, the Baroque Festival. We've been having this Baroque Festival for several years and we're very proud of it. It seems to be moving from strength to strength. This is one of the very beautiful venues which we have. It is the Auberge de Provence, the hall, what we call the Painted Salon, and it's one of my favorite venues in this festival. We have an average of about 18 venues, which we choose from all over Malta, not specifically Valletta. We started off with Valletta, but then of course we moved out of Valletta. Obviously we found that Malta is very Baroque anyway, so the parish churches, the band clubs, we get an average of about 300 musicians in a couple of weeks of the festival, some from Malta, but mostly from overseas, from Germany, from Greece, from France, all over Europe. Sort of very upmarket considering the caliber of the musicians that we get in this festival. When I conceived this festival, I always said this is a festival which will make people love Baroque music. And how do I make people love Baroque music? By making it interesting, making it varied, and not making it precious. So that has always been my motto where this festival is concerned. I have always tried my best to charm an audience and make the audiences grow. Welcome to the Manuel Theatre, Teatro Manuel as we call it in Maltese. As a theatre was sort of created discreetly, the two houses which existed over here, which belonged to the Priory of Navarre, were requisitioned by the Grand Master, and this theatre was created in a little side street very discreetly. So, as they were a monastic principality, they couldn't really show. So even the facade is not an elaborate facade. It is very, what I call, plain. It's beautiful, Baroque, very classical in its design, but it does not reflect the opulence that is inside. And the doors are open, and we can see straight through to the stage, which is lovely actually. It's a beautiful sight. Lots of people, because it's warm, have their intervals out here, which is why there are bars selling, and we have our drinks in the middle of the road. The theatre was built alla stile italien, which is a sort of elliptical shape, just common to court theatres throughout Europe in the 18th century. So this theatre is no exception. However, it got its egg shape, its oval shape, in the 19th century when the English pushed in the proscenium arch, which is over there, and they extended it by adding the third tier and the gallery. It's existed in this form since the 1840s. It takes about 490 people comfortably, and it's our little gem. So this is St. John's Co-Cathedral. It's probably the largest church in Malta. It is our main venue. Everybody looks forward to it. Acoustically, it's a bit dicey because it's barrel vaulted, and so sometimes the acoustic goes in certain places, but it's so beautiful inside that it makes up for it. And as sort of mannerist and plain as it is outside, it is profoundly Baroque inside. It was built towards, I would imagine it's one of the first buildings to be built in Valletta. If you see the floor is covered with an almanach de Gotha of all the Catholic nobility of Europe. If you look up at the ceiling, you'll see the life of St. John painted by a Calabrian painter called Mattia Preti. And it is a military church, ostensibly, but then of course all the decoration which was added on over the centuries created this. Organising a concert in here takes a bit of doing because it all depends on the cooperation that we have between the foundation. We have very good relations with the foundation because St. John's is run by a foundation. And we have this concert here. We have to be very careful about putting certain things, about lighting, because of the treasures that there are over here, so that the lighting has to be very discreet. And I would imagine that it is the star concert which happens every year. This is the one that everybody must come to. Whether it's a 3-hour Passion by Bach, or something by Handel, we always have something large. So it lends itself. I mean, one can listen to, I don't know, Handel's Messiah in a dark room or in a modern concert hall, but when you listen to it in here, it's a completely different experience. This is the Oratory where Caravaggio painted the largest of his paintings, which is behind me. It's the beheading of St. John the Baptist. It is a marvel in itself, even the way it's balanced. And we sometimes use it as a venue as well. One of our most beautiful concerts, which was held in here, was Stradella's San Giovanni Battista, which was extraordinary. We had the painting and then the story being enacted in an oratorio, which was quite extraordinary. We are in the village of Zaytoun, in the church dedicated to Saint Catherine of Alexandria. The church, in fact, is a new church. New in the sense that it's an 18th century church, so for us it's new. Where musicians are concerned, there are over 300 definitely. I'm not very good at mathematics, but the people who come from abroad, go into over the 2.5 weeks, go into the 6,000 mark. Coming and going and going and coming, etc., etc. When you count them all. We chose January especially because January is what's called a shoulder month in tourism, knowing that ensembles like the Ghislieri will be very, very busy, and if I so much as told them to come in June, it would be impossible. Yeah.
And it's one of those festivals, Valletta Baroque, where of course we perform very well-known pieces, but also where we are allowed to present the results of our research. And this is very important because Baroque music is about research on repertoire, on how to play it, which instruments, which voices, which way of bowing. And as a musician, we as musicians, we really, really do appreciate a lot.
Is totally funded by the government of Malta. So we are very lucky in that respect that these things are made possible through the Ministry of Culture.
Mezzo Backstage.